Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Luxury Cruising. And I'm really excited to have Samantha here with me today. She is going to be talking to us about what I feel like is one of the ultimate in luxury cruising, and that is the ultimate family suite on the brand new Utopia of the Seas. So, Samantha, tell the listeners all about you.
Absolutely. So my name is Samantha Bailey. I am the owner and operator at Endeavor Travel Group. So I am a travel agent, but this was for my personal family trip. We were sharing the ultimate family suite with my parents, three of my siblings, my spouse and I, and my young daughter. So we had a full house in addition to several other extended family members that joined us in some other additional rooms.
Awesome. So, what made you decide on the ship, the room, the itinerary? What was it about this particular sailing that you were looking for?
That it was the newest ship at the time when we booked it. It was right when they released the sailings, and we just said, this seems like a really cool ship. Let's just get on it while we can. And with it being 3 and 4 night sailings, it let us bring a lot more people with us. So we were able to reach out to grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, and just really get a lot of people on board because they didn't have to take so much time away from work.
Yeah. And I do want to mention one thing that you said is that you booked it as soon as the rooms became available, right? As soon as it opened up, which I think for people who are looking for luxury, but also maybe don't want to spend the highest budget or don't have the most money for a budget, it can seem weird to book a room years in advance. But really, I find it so advantageous because you do get the lowest price. And I have been paying off my 2 bedroom aqua theater suite on Symphony for the last 18 months. And so I just make regular payments every month. It actually goes through my travel agent. And so it doesn't feel like this big giant balloon bill. Like I just paid off my car, 90 days before I sail or 121 days or however many days it is, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's only one of these rooms, right? When you're at the top tier of a room on Royal Caribbean, there's not several of these rooms available on different decks. It's the room. I was looking for a family on Icon for next summer, and the Ultimate Family Townhouse is already booked all
Yeah.
summer long.
They go fast.
Like they go so
Yeah.
fast. So if you really want to get in this specific room, you have to do it right away. And when you have a really
Yeah.
big group, I mean, we had 9 people in our room. The math, when you do it, if you can get 9 people in one room, it actually works out so much better than having to do 2 or 3 more standard type of suites.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is I'm sure as a travel agent, you make this seamless for your clients, but for other people who are booking without a travel agent, and then you have to like coordinate and, all the different itineraries and link them. And then ultimately, like somebody ends up at the wrong dining room table, at the wrong dining time, and it's a mess.
Yes, absolutely. Especially, I mean, we had 4 different cabins. So we had our suite, and then we had 3 additional balcony cabins on this particular sailing. But that's common across groups in general if you're not correctly linking the reservations together and things like that. Although I will say, I started communicating with our genie as soon as he reached out to us, and he was communicating with me as the agent, right, not as the client, because I was
Yeah.
technically the agent on this. I was able to get dining reservations for our entire group together. The genie wasn't only just working with us and the people in our room. He was working with us to support our entire group, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, that's really, really wonderful. So tell people who may not be aware, what is a Royal Genie?
Yes, your genie is kind of your butler slash concierge when you're on the ship. They're supporting a couple of star class suites. So you're not the only client that they have when you're on board. But they are really our first step with everything. He didn't even want me to order room service on my own. He was like, WhatsApp me what you want and I'll get it for you. There was very little limit to what the genie could do. I actually even got a tour of the beach club on Coco Cay with an overwater cabana because I wanted to get some footage for my clients and I wanted to get some additional information. So he set up a private tour of the beach club with the director for me so that I could speak with him one-on-one. Aside from being able to reserve us chairs on deck, which seemed like a big ask to begin with, that was pretty much the only thing he said no to.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to our aqua theater suite that also comes with a genie.
Yes.
And it's a celebration cruise for us, and it is just so worth it.
He kept us really busy. We met the captain. We did a tour of the galley with the executive sous chef. We did laser tag, escape room. We were everywhere doing everything. He kept us full of stuff to do.
That sounds amazing. Were you specifically looking for a luxurious experience?
Yes, absolutely. We have done different levels of cruising and travel throughout the years. And we're at a point where we wanted to step up our experience, but still be able to include a broader group of people with us. And that can be hard to do in a lot of land-based or pure luxury lines for cruising. So when we're looking at Royal Caribbean, which is something we know has tons of activities for the kids at the different ages, lots of activities, shows, right? We wanted everyone to have something to do, something they were excited about. And so that's where we kind of really came in and decided on this type of vacation being the right fit for us.
Yeah, I do love that about cruising is that when you go with various people and various families, it allows everyone to book a room that really fits their budget, right? Their budget level. If I want a Starcast suite, I can do that. And if somebody else wants to come with us, but maybe wants a standard balcony, that's okay too. And we can still enjoy the vacation together.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the luxurious parts of the Ultimate Family Suite. What makes it ultimate and luxurious?
The space, for one. I mean, having your own hot tub on your balcony on a cruise ship is not in every room, right? And there were a lot of fun touches for the kids with the slide in the room. All of the bunk beds had TVs with headphones so they could do their own gaming or watch a movie or whatever. Just the sheer amount of space and bathrooms. Having 3 full bathrooms was fantastic. Yes. Including one that has a tub. So if you have little ones like I do, my daughter's 3, having a full tub on a cruise ship is feels like the height of luxury.
Yeah.
Right?
That is luxury. Yeah.
Showers. And just the service and personal touches, right? We came back to our room on the first night and there were sets of matching pajamas for all of us waiting on the first night.
Wow. Those are the luxurious touches that you really don't even think about asking for, but really it's that service. And we can talk about that too, because that's one of the things that I consider to be luxury too, is that upper level of service. But finish out the room. Anything else in the room that you thought was really luxurious?
Being the Ultimate Family Suite, it's really geared towards making sure the kids have a lot to do, right? So there was the media room, the video game consoles, and to be honest, we were so busy out doing stuff that I don't even know that we fully even scraped how much we could do in the room itself. There was just endless entertainment built into the room. And especially if you were on a longer sailing, I mean, we were only on there for 4 nights, but if I had 7 nights, I could imagine the kids hanging out and playing video games for a day, right? Just because it was stocked with board games and Legos and all kinds of stuff that we barely even had time to use.
Yeah, and I love that because then if the kids want to just hang out in the room and play a video game or watch a movie in their movie room, you can still go out on your balcony, go out on the hot tub. You get to enjoy those outdoor cruise activities while they're doing whatever they like. They just want to chill. They don't want to be in the heat.
And there's tons of space to host your group in there as well, right? If you want to do a private dinner on your balcony for your little group, there's a huge table out there. You can have them bring in food from any specialty restaurant you want. You can have chops, right, on your balcony in a private dinner setting. Yeah. So there's just really very little limits to what you can ask for in the room, right? I said, hey, I've got a toddler that wakes up a lot earlier than everybody else. Can I have fruit and coffee in my room every morning at 7 a.m. so that we don't have to go out and get breakfast first thing in the morning. And there was more fruit than I could. I had to keep telling them, stop bringing so much fruit because
Yeah.
they just were bringing it by piles of stuff, right?
Yeah. Every day there's a new fruit basket. Amazing. Yeah. So tell us about going back to the service. Like you mentioned the pajamas, which I think is amazing. You mentioned about, you asked the genie, which is one of the things I'm most looking forward to, is like you basically give the genie your order, like your Starbucks order, which, oh, by the way, is not included in a drink package, but is included in your Star Class package. So you can just say, like, yeah, I want my, grande mocha latte delivered at 7:30 every day.
Yep, absolutely. So I had it set up kind of a daily schedule because I know our family and what we like to do. And so I had that delivery in the morning. And then when you're getting ready for dinner time on the ship, right, I said, bring us some charcuterie or some chips and salsa every day. And snacks appeared. Our dinner reservations were always taken care of. I could order drinks, snacks, whatever I wanted to the room, and our genie was on it. We wanted to do the escape room one day, and we said, oh, can you get us in the escape room? Done. You're ready to go. When do you want to do it? There was no waiting. When we were out on the pool deck, he came and found us and found a server and said, these are my people. Take care of them while they're here. A half empty drink the whole time.
Yeah, amazing. Like that is service, right? Where, the crew members talk to their close crew members so that there's such a nice continuity, that continuity of service where it's not like when my genie is standing right next to me, I get everything I want. But the minute I leave their side, but no, it just follows you everywhere. I love it. So you mentioned that you can have the specialty dining brought to your stateroom. Did you mostly do that or did you go to the restaurants for specialty dining?
We did specialty dining in the restaurants every night. We were at Chops. We were at the one in Central Park. We did hibachi one night. Like we did all the restaurants that we could in advance. I will say the Royal Railway, which was new on Utopia, is still an extra charge for Star Class guests, which most dining options aren't. But so we did pass on that one for this time just because we had so many other great places we wanted to try. But we were there and we had the reservation for 15 people. So we did pay for our other guests to join us while we were on board, even if they didn't have the specialty dining package. But it was seamless. I told our genie what time we like to eat, where we wanted to go. And he made the reservations and we made sure that he worked with the wait staff so that our other guests would not receive a bill.
Yeah, that's very nice. Arranging those sorts of like small things is so, so key. How about, was your toddler the only child in the party?
She was the only baby in the party. We did have some teenagers that were with us, a couple of 15-year-olds and an 18-year-old. So technically an adult, but they were all over the private flow rider time. They were actually the only people that showed up for that hour. So they had like an hour unlimited flow rider, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then, my daughter, she's 3. She was just delighted to be there and was actually asking for our genie at the airport on the way home.
Oh, that is so sweet. Anything else that you feel like was special for her? Because 3 is that sort of like, are they going to go to Adventure Ocean? Maybe not. But how can we sort of have some adult time? So how did that factor into the Ultimate Family Suite at all? Like her age?
Yeah. Well, we didn't send her to Adventure Ocean at all on this sailing. She still naps like for 2.5 hours a day. I don't know what I'll do when she stops. But for now, she still takes very nice long naps. And what was great was we could put her down and go sit in the hot tub on the balcony and have lunch delivered to the room. So we ordered mason jar one day for lunch and sat on the balcony. And so we were able to stay in the room while she's napping, but still be enjoying our time and hanging out and not feeling, like on some other cruises where we just did a balcony cabin, we were sitting on the balcony.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point is that especially, when you have kids that Same thing with the issue with the games and videos is that if you've got little ones that need to nap, and although I have seen people like take their video monitor and like leave their baby in their room and take the video monitor to dinner. And I'm like, wow, okay. Like,
if you're comfortable with that and you're close enough, right? That's your decision ultimately.
Yeah. But with an ultimate family suite, you don't need to do that. You can like relax again, like you said, hot tub, meal, whatever it is. And maybe you want to watch a movie in the media room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Kick the other kids out saying, no, you have to be
suite level.
No, saying you could kick the teenagers out to say like, no, we have to be quiet because the babies.
They were fine. They actually spent a lot of time up on the suite sun deck, which I was going to say, if you want to do a suite level room and you're not in the ultimate family suite, right? The nice thing about the Utopia and similar layout of ships is there's a lot of rooms that have direct access to the suite sun deck right next to them, right? Where you could have kids that go to bed earlier and you don't want to be sitting in the room or on the balcony. You could be 2 doors down and be out on the suite sun deck where you're not all the way across the ship or multiple floors away, right?
Yeah, that is another nice aspect to it is that sweet neighborhood. Since probably, I think Wonder was probably the first one where Royal starting to incorporate this sort of like ship within a ship where most of the suites that have access to the suite sun deck are right there. So you don't have to be like dragging across the whole ship with your flip-flops. I'm not a flip-flop person, so sorry if anybody is, but like I don't find them comfortable to walk in. But you're like going across with whatever, your bathing suit, then you are, and on the way back you're walking through like you're wet and you're in this like cold hallway, right? But when you're in the suite neighborhood, that's another perk. Like that's just nice. That just makes the vacation just so much more comfortable.
Yeah. And not having to eat breakfast in the Windjammer is amazing. The Coastal Kitchen. I love the Coastal Kitchen.
I love Coastal Kitchen. It is hands down my favorite restaurant, especially for dinner on any Royal Caribbean ship. I don't need a dining package because I just would prefer to eat in Coastal Kitchen.
Even my daughter, right? We were having like a hectic day. We went to get her something quick to eat in the Windjammer. And I was like, what am I doing here? And we went up to the Coastal Kitchen and everyone was just relaxed. And we had such a nice meal, right? The vibe just instantly adds on to you. And you just, okay.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like they're so accommodating that even if you went in and you're like, we're going to sit here. Can you just like put together like a, butter noodle plate for her. She's hungry, whatever. They would do it. They would probably do it.
She ordered a lot of Fruit Loops at
the
Coastal Kitchen and they were like, sounds great.
Yeah. What about, you said that there were a lot of tours. Tell us about like highlights with regards to like entertainment or activities that you really felt because you were in the Ultimate Family Suite, that it became available to you because of the room you were in.
The reserved seating is fantastic. And that was another thing I told our Genie right off the bat. We want to go to all the shows. Make sure we have seats. So we were front row for the ice skating show, which is a blast. I mean, they're real athletes, right? And the Aqua Theater is my favorite cruise, all-inclusive, any kind of show. The Aqua Theater is amazing. These people are real athletes, and it's such a joy to watch them because when else am I going to see someone who probably competed on a world stage at one point in their sport, and they're here on this doing amazing things for me, right? And when you're in Star Class, your Genie is getting you the best seats possible. Right. Even at the Aqua Show, we were front row outside of the splash zone, right? And so,
key, right?
And again, he reserved it for our entire group of 15 people, not just the people that were in our suite. Like he took into account that we had great grandma and auntie and other people that were coming with us and made sure that we were all able to enjoy that stuff together.
Yeah, that's really nice. You had an excellent Genie because I have heard like it doesn't happen with everybody, but that Genie, that was definitely a really good. And the thing too is Utopia is a new ship. And so they're always going to have their best people open a ship, right? And that's not what they call it. They call it something else in cruise land. It's not called open a ship, launch a ship, something like that.
Oh, Now I'm blanking on it because you're blanking on it.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll probably,
Inaugural sailings. Inaugural
yeah,
sailings.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
our genie was great. So he was great with the seating at the shows, the restaurants. I mean, but I also knew what to take advantage of, right? And I advise other people on how to best take advantage of a genie. And sometimes there is variation depending on the ship and who the genie is of what they're willing to do. Like I've heard of other genies on ships helping their clients skip the line at water slides while they're on the ship. Like
yeah,
that seems very rare, but there's the occasional genie that's willing to do that kind of thing. So there's a little variation of what they're willing to do, but there's also just knowing how to best take advantage of the genie to begin with.
yeah. And I think with anything, when you're working with someone at that level, being kind and polite goes very far rather than feeling like you're entitled to something.
Always. I mean, everyone on the ship, anywhere you go, right? It's important to treat people with kindness and respect, but especially our genie, the people who were taking care of our room, right? Like cleaning up that huge room after 9 people twice a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Yeah.
so much work. And we were so grateful for everything that they did for us while we were on board.
Yeah. That's amazing. Anything off the ship? I know there are only 4 nights, so you basically probably like go to Bahamas and Coco Cay.
Yep. Nassau and Coco Cay.
Yeah.
When you're on a ship like Utopia, if you've been to ports before, we've all been to Nassau before, so we all decided we're not even going to get off. We're here for the ship, right? When you're doing a sailing like that in that kind of a room, right, you're there for the ship, not the destination, right? And so we kind of embraced that, and we just stayed on board for the day in Nassau and had a great day at the pool. It wasn't crowded. My daughter was at the splash pad up and down the slide. You know, it was still busy and there were some people on board. There was a little bit of a line at the bar, but again, we had someone because our genie came over and said, take care of my people. So we had a very relaxing day on board without a care in the world. Okay, you got to get off at Coco Cay. That's probably the best private island destination.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic. We just stayed at the Oasis Lagoon. If you get there early, there's a couple of tables in the water next to the swim up bar. If you can lock down one of those tables, you're good for the day.
Yeah. Question about and that's a good tip for getting off. I always get off early at Coco Cay and get my spot. I rather than at the swim up bar, because if you stay there too late, it gets a little bit of like too much of like a, Vegas party vibe. So I want my chair, on the other side. But you had mentioned, so I'm just curious, because it's, Utopia is doing just 3 and 4 days. And my guess is that there's going to be a higher than usual number of people who have cruised before, have gone to Nassau before, and will opt to stay on the ship. Just like a best guess, like, do you think that there was proportionally more people who stayed on the ship in Nassau or no?
It didn't feel busy. The only time I ever felt like it was busy on board was when we were in the Windjammer, trying to just grab something quickly for my daughter without having to go back to the room or wait or whatever. Other than that, I never had to wait to use the restroom or to get to the bar or anything like that. Even if I wasn't star class, I don't feel like I had to wait a significant amount of time at any place. The ship is just massive. It is so huge. And there's so many different places to hang out depending on what you wanted to do. And there's 3 pools plus a massive kids play area. So even if you do have a lot of people on deck, there was a lot of chairs. There was plenty of space to go around.
Yeah, that's so good to know. On some of these ships, it's like you're fighting for a pool, a chair by the pool. So that's really good to know. Well, what if we had to summarize it, what do you think was the most luxurious aspects of this trip?
Just being completely taken care of, right? And from the perspective of everyone traveling with me, because I was doing all the coordinating, they didn't have to think about a single thing, right? Like I knew what they wanted. I knew what drinks we wanted in our mini bar in the room, right? Like, so I worked to send over a list of everything that everybody likes and what their preferences are. They didn't have to think about what show they were going to go to that night, where they were going to eat dinner, how they were going to get seating for everyone at the show or at dinner, or what we were going to do. Everything was just planned and done. And some people don't want their days so structured, and there's definitely accommodation for that. But if you're somebody who just wants to show up and have everything done, everything is ready, I don't have to think about a thing. Everything was done.
Yeah, nice, really nice. Stepping away from this particular trip, how do you define luxury?
I think for myself and for my clients, it really comes down to service first and foremost. You can have the most beautiful, brand new place with lovely decorations, and it sounds so amazing. But at the end of the day, if you show up and the staff are not performing at the level you would expect, it's just not going to work. It's not going to feel like luxury. You want to feel welcomed. You want to feel embraced. You want to feel like people are excited to make your vision and your dream for your trip come true. If you don't have that, you could stay at anywhere in the world. But if people aren't treating you with respect, and if people aren't treating you with just the highest level of hospitality, it's not luxury.
Absolutely. Any other luxury trips planned, cruise or otherwise?
Well, we're doing Thanksgiving in Mexico. We're doing the Grand at Moon Palace for that one. So a flow rider for 3 people with, when we've got teenagers in the group, you can't say no to that.
Luxury. Yep.
That's on our non-negotiable list as a flow rider. So maybe when they're a little older, I can get them somewhere else. But for now, somewhere that has all the amenities for the kids of all ages is the top of our list. And so I'm excited to go check that one out. And then possibly in the spring, we're looking at going down to Casa de Campo in the DR.
Very nice. Amazing. So one thing I ask all my guests is, what is your dream cruise?
My dream cruise? That's such a hard one. Alaska's on my short list. Something small ship where you can really get into really cool and unique places and see everything. I mean, I know there's so many amazing places to go and see. I think Alaska for me feels like something I can do with a young child. There are other ones I'd love to do, but don't feel as realistic with a kid who's 4, 5, 6 years old. Alaska feels like something I could do, and is just a destination I've sent so many people to, and I'm dying to get there for myself.
Yeah. On a small ship, like a small luxury ship, like a Seabourn or a Regent, or maybe even a Scenic. I think Scenic has some cruises to Alaska that would probably just be phenomenal. Yeah.
I really like the vibe of Seabourn, so that's probably kind of on the top of my list. I just like the kind of social, kind of welcoming atmosphere that they have on board. So I think Seabourn's probably at the top of my list, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Samantha, thank you so much. This has been so fun. I am a huge Royal fan. I love the Ultimate Family Suite as well. But please just remind everyone, if they want to get in touch with you to book their Ultimate Family Suite, or any room at all, how can they find you and use your travel agent services?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm again with Endeavor Travel Group. Our website is endeavortravelgroup.com. And my phone number, people can call or text me. Most people like to text, which I'm totally fine with. 508-964-3526.
And I'll definitely put that in the show notes. Not a lot of show notes. I don't do a lot of show notes, but any contact information, I definitely will put in there.
Awesome.
Well, awesome.
Have a great rest of your day.